Prime Minister Pashinyan's visit to the United States continues to be discussed, though not with the intensity of the first days, but from a wider perspective instead. While US cuts can be viewed as withdrawing global American influence, questions arise on who or what will fill in the political vacuums, regional hegemonies, traditional superpowers, or will Trump administration implement all the leverages to be reinvented yet? Mr. Sargsyan, thank you for this opportunity.
Nice to see you, Astghik.
You have a new administration, the Trump administration in the US. Biden administration facilitated peace talks between Armenia and Azerbaijan. What should we expect from Trump administration? Will they bring peace to South Caucasus?
Well, this is an encouraging time in America because just at the end of the Biden administration, they signed a strategic partnership agreement with Armenia, which lays the groundwork for much more active engagement by the United States with Armenia. So we are encouraged to see that there'll be a deeper cooperation. And I think this is something that Armenia has been wanting, where there's a strategic partnership that broadens economic, security, and defense relationships with Armenia. So it's good for Armenia to have diversified relationships, relationships with Russia, relationships with Europe, and now a more deepening and strengthened relationship with the United States.
While the new world order is shaping itself, small states like Armenia extend the hope that they will not be denied the dignity of peaceful state building. First, a political settlement must be established with Azerbaijan. Then, three core survival functions should be taken further: security, revenue, and ruling through law. Amid expert community concerns that spill over into the Armenian society, we do express hope that the United States-Armenia strategic partnership will help build up all. The charter was signed with the outgoing government. Do you believe that the inaugurated one will actually commit to it?
Yes, I believe that when you sign a strategic partnership agreement with the United States, it goes from one generation of one administration to the second administration. It's certainly incumbent upon us as Armenian Americans to make sure that it is a priority on President Trump's agenda. But I believe that once you have deepening relationships around economies, around security, around defense, it actually strengthens the United States' hand in the region. So they're going to want a deeper relationship, much like the other countries in the region. And I think Armenia is now building up a very strong foreign policy towards the United States to have a better relationship, and that's encouraging.
Is South Caucasus not a golden opportunity for Trump to bring peace and to score a goal with the constituents, with the Armenian constituency?
I think that the Trump administration is very different than the Biden administration. The Trump administration does not like to see distractions in the world. So if I were having a discussion with President Trump, I would say, look, this one, the previous administration has worked on. It was a priority, and now we just need to bring it over the finish line. Peace is at hand. And if President Trump acts like the President Trump of the previous administration, he will bring this over the finish line. And I think he would be very happy with the opportunity to complete this, because it never got completed. So to have a lasting peace between Armenia, Azerbaijan, good relations with Turkey, and a balanced relationship with Russia, which I believe President Trump would encourage, I think it's good for all parties in the region.
So if we believe that the charter will be implemented, then we need to look at the details that the charter offers. What do we get? What does Armenia get on our part of the deal if we take this apart? Border security, a modular nuclear plant, etc.?
Yes, I think for me, the one thing that comes out of this is a deepened security relationship. So Armenian Americans are very concerned about Armenia's security. You're going to see more beefed up border security, more technical support for customs and the borders. That means more engagement by the United States in the security of Armenia. Also, the 123 agreement, the nuclear agreement, which brings, as Secretary Blinken said, will bring peaceful nuclear security and nuclear energy to Armenia. I think that is hugely important for Armenia. You want a diversified energy source in a country, and nuclear energy is something of concern to Armenia and to us as Armenian Americans. So it would be better to have a more broadened nuclear agreement. And it's okay that other countries come in and invest. We'd love to see Europe invest. We'd love to see Russia come in and invest. But the United States is going to take the lead in nuclear energy and nuclear security. This is one place where the United States will excel because their technology is second to none when it comes to nuclear energy.
While we wonder where Armenia-US relations are headed, the Armenian parliament passes the bill on launching EU accession. The opposition sees Armenia's steer towards the West as a form of overpriced political adventure or even political mythology. The government, just the opposite, signals a determination to move in the Western direction. The ball is in the court of the collective West now. Becoming a strategic partner to the US will clearly help build resilience over the years, but does it help decrease the threat of escalation, which, judging by the recent hardened bellicose rhetoric of Aliyev, is still there?
Yeah, I think that President Aliyev needs to grow up. He's acting more and more like North Korea, and I think the United States sees that. I think Russia relishes that because it can control President Aliyev. This petro-dictator style of leadership is really going to go away because Trump said he's going to drill more oil in the Western Hemisphere. We're not going to need President Aliyev's oil. And it's really an insignificant amount when you really think about it. So that being said, it's really going to be important for him to rise to the occasion, stop the rhetoric. I think he's trying to get into the heads of Armenians. And I think since the war, we're sort of done with this now. Turkey wants a relationship with Armenia. It needs to call on President Aliyev, make him come to Ankara and say, all right, stop it. You've got what you wanted. You won a war. It seems to have not brought dividends for him. He keeps talking about the dividends that it brings. It hasn't brought any dividends. He has to resettle Artsakh Armenians. He also has to release the prisoners. I'm astonished that in this day and age where the United States is hyper-focused on injustice, you're going to see the prisoner issue come to the front because, as we just saw, Hamas and Israel have now come to a ceasefire. Prisoners are being released. Aliyev looks like an old-style Soviet dictator, and Armenians need to stand up for these prisoners. We, as American Armenians, we need to stand up for these prisoners. This could be any one of us someday being in a prison. And I'll tell you, being in a prison in Baku is not exactly where any of us would want to be. Therefore, the United States has to push hard to get the prisoners released, to get a peace deal, and to move the agenda with regional peace.
Obviously, Aliyev did not favor Biden's administration, and he has clearly stated so. He has also turned recently down the Western platforms for negotiation, but he's getting his hopes up with Trump administration. He even went as far as to state, being the dictator he is, that he has common value system with the newly elected Trump. How would you comment?
I know the Trump administration. They're all about freedom. They're all about liberty. There is no freedom. There is no liberty in Azerbaijan. So I don't know what values he thinks he has with President Trump. We're also seeing a different President Trump this time around. We're seeing somebody who is going to have 2.5 years to build his legacy. And he's not going to build his legacy with a dictator. He's going to build his legacy with a freedom-loving Christian country who is there to support a broader agenda. He'll support Turkey if Turkey aligns with Armenia. But Azerbaijan is looking like a country of old. Basically, as we've said, a country that has a one-trick pony, which is an oil dictatorship, and it's very concerning to us in the West that we're not going to reward countries that don't stand up and act in good faith. I was talking to the State Department recently, and they were saying that they're very concerned right now that Aliyev is jailing more people inside Azerbaijan. So does President Trump want to align himself with somebody who jails his own people? Or is, when President Trump is talking about pardoning people of freedom? So I think that being said, you're going to see a different relationship as it relates to the Biden administration, certainly. But I think you're going to see a much more cohesive pro-liberty, pro-freedom agenda with the Trump administration.
If we go back to the strategic partnership, what's our part of the deal? That is, what is expected of Armenia instead?
I think Armenia has a great know-how, and what it's going to take is a solid relationship between the parties. They're going to get to know each other better. Technical assistance will come from the American side. I think from the Armenian side, they'll be more of help with, say, counterterrorism and helping aid in the global security. So Armenia did aid in the past when we sent medical battalions to different parts of the world, when they sent peacekeepers to Bosnia in the past. I think you'll see more of that. I think you'll just see Armenia more on the world stage, participating in these efforts to bring peace and security to the world.
Internal criticism against the charter says other regional powers may feel threatened by it. The U.S. has previously sealed strategic partnerships in the region with Georgia and Kazakhstan. Why should the U.S.-Armenia strategic partnership feel a threat to anybody at all?
It shouldn't. As a matter of fact, it may aid in the region. It may aid with future relationships between the U.S. and Iran. It may aid even with Russia-U.S. relations. Armenia should sort of be held up as a model country. It should be good with its neighbors. It should be good with Russia. It should be good with Europe. I think you'll see with Armenia, it's learned from the mistakes of some of its neighbors. It won't make those mistakes. Armenia is an open, free country. I've said Armenia today is freer than it's ever been. Why would Russia, why would Iran, why would any of these countries want to disrupt one of the freest countries where their citizens can travel to freely? And the U.S. is just also in the game. I am very encouraged to see U.S. engagement in the region. I think it's good for the region. I think also Russian engagement and European engagement is good for the region. I was a proponent, and still am, of the OSCE formula. Obviously, Aliyev isn't. President Aliyev, does not want any light on his country. He wants to sort of work in secrecy, behind the scenes. He doesn't want to see democracies. He doesn't want to see European values brought to his country. He just wants to control the oil supply, flow it, and he wants to make money off it.
Before the elections, President Trump promised that he would try and put an end to the Russia-Ukraine war. Do you believe, one more time, that he will do the same for South Caucasus?
As far as Russia-Ukraine, he's already backed off. He said he would do it within a month. I don't see that happening. He will try to put an end to Armenia, Azerbaijan, and it's almost there. So we are so close to an agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan that the Trump administration would love to finish something the Biden administration did not finish. I think that I commend the Biden administration. They worked very hard on it, but the Trump administration's quite smart about not having any wars and solving these problems. I think what it's going to take a little muscle here to call together the parties, and certainly to call Turkey to the table to talk to President Aliyev and get President Aliyev to do what's right for his own country. I don't believe he will do what's right for his country. I think he'll have to be forced into it.
Thank you so much one more time.
Thank you, Astghik. Good to see you.
It is clear, though, that Trump administration's taking ownership of the legacy of strategic partnership that they received from the Democrats will be decisive in regulating regional stability.